Redgate Park is a semi-wooded public park in suburban Rockville, Maryland. It is administered by the city of Rockville as a public park and nature preserve. It is a newer park with an impressive 131 acres, and it has an interesting backstory. The park began as a public golf course called Redgate Golf Course, which was designed and built in 1974. It operated until 2018 when the golf course manager ended its 10-year management lease with the city 3 years early. The National Golf Foundation evaluated the public course and found that it could only survive as a golf course after significant repairs and renovations were made to the 18-hole course. The estimate for the cost of repairs necessary to make the course at or near a financial break-even point, according to that report, was $3.2 million. That is a significant figure for a golf course that is already on the ropes. I used to play here occasionally a few years ago, and the course was reasonably priced at about $40 per round, and it was easy to get a cart rental too. However, it was known to be a course that was not particularly nice or exciting. It had poor green quality and other issues. It was, after all, a public course. With this news, the management terminated its 10-year lease, and the city of Rockville wrestled with what to do with the land. There were proposals to auction it off, turn it into housing, turn it into VA housing, turn it into an event space, and others, but the winning plan was to leave it as a nature preserve with improvements planned. The decision was made after many impassioned speeches and efforts by local birdwatching groups and citizens about how the course, left to become overgrown in many places, grew into a spontaneous bird habitat that hosts up to 170 species. Fall of 2019, Cornell's ornithological department designated Redgate Park as a e-birding hotspot on their online bird catalog called EBird. I used the open source data from eBird to identify some interesting trends. When the data was first recorded in 2019, you can see that bird populations of these 4 species I picked were significantly higher in 2022 than they were when they first were recorded in 2019. This is because Redgate Golf Course, when left to rewilding, became a beautiful habitat for these birds, and it's now quite a popular spot for them. Another big part of it is the water features that served the course during its golfing days, which became naturalized ponds, and the big sweeping greens became overgrown and naturally developed into perfect hunting grounds for many raptor and owl species of birds. Okay, so if you're a fan of golf, this next part's going to be a bit of a bummer. That is, if seeing all these pictures of an abandoned golf course didn't already bum you out. One of the biggest contributing factors that even allowed this change to happen is the national trend of golf decreasing in popularity, especially among younger people, who tend to prefer less expensive and less resource-intensive recreation, according to a study published by the Golf Science Journal, linked below. The study finds that participation of children and young people in golf has taken a sharp downturn in the 21st century. It is often viewed as an elitist sport, and less than 6% of youths in the UK, where the study was conducted, between the ages of 5 and 15, have ever reported playing golf, according to this study. A very interesting video by one of my favorite YouTubers, City Nerd, explains perfectly in the video linked above why golf is irresponsible land use. In short though, dozens and dozens of people can use the park as it is today, for any number of activities, for free, whereas when it was a golf course, only a handful of people could ever use the course at any given time, and the privilege to do so came with a cost. In March 2020, the park was converted into a public park as part of a unanimous vote to keep the entirety of the land undeveloped, for now.
This is an exciting opportunity to think big and design a park for our community, the region, and for future generations.
So, what do you want out of this park? 3 master plans were submitted to the city of Rockville. Let's review the one that got approved. This is the final master plan for Redgate Park. A link to the document will be in the description below. Let's crack it open. 90% of the park will be dedicated to passive recreation, activities such as connected trails for biking, hiking, walking, and birding. These pathways will connect the natural habitats to the picnicking areas. The Central Park area will be developed with a new visitor center, community gardens, a picnic area, playground, dog park, and an amphitheater. The entire park will be developed as an arboretum, which is a plant and tree collection. Signage designating the different types of plant life will be integrated throughout to aid in natural education. These plans will be implemented in phases and will require a significant sum of money. but it's money well spent because it'll become a wonderful centerpiece park and it makes the city more livable and more desirable. Let's go through the pieces one by one. First, 90% of the park is reserved for passive recreation. That is fantastic. That means that 118 acres of bird and wildlife habitat will remain here, adjacent to Rock Creek Park Woods. This is a huge win for bird watchers and, more importantly, for the birds themselves. Second, the pathways. These will crisscross through the natural areas and connect to the developed areas. This is great too, although a bit unusual compared to other examples of park development. Because this park was previously a golf course, the space is already covered with asphalt golf cart paths that now serve as walking paths. Except the issue here is that these were made for vehicles that have no problem chugging up steep hills. Walking some of these trails can be tiring as they carve steeply upwards or downwards, and often go in strange, almost nonsensical directions, as they were developed to serve a driving green that no longer exists. This makes biking on them almost impossible. I'm curious to see if any of these trails get removed and if bicycle, wheelchair, or recumbent accessible bike paths are put in. In all my many hundreds of hours spent at this park, I've never seen a bicycle here, though this could be attributed to the lack of bicycle accessibility to the park itself, which I will touch on later. Third, the visitor center. The current clubhouse is still there, abandoned and empty. It used to serve as a golf shop, admin building, and cafe. The cost to restore and renovate into a visitor center is almost equal to the cost to tear it down and build a new visitor center. In this case, I'm definitely in favor of demoing this building and starting from scratch. To the tune of almost $6 million, we will definitely see a fairly nice and modern visitor center that can accommodate natural education, school field trips, and other events. There's a chance it would even serve as a rentable event space, which can be a destination for weddings or large outdoor corporate events, a facility that Rockville is in desperate need of. This would also generate income for the state and offset some of the costs of construction. Fourth, the community gardens will be located in the large, flat, well-sunned space that the driving range used to occupy. This is a win because the city initially tried to earmark this space for a public sports field. While I definitely don't disagree with the idea of more public sports fields, I think this would have been a mistake because of the propensity for noise, higher car traffic, and the need to install lights and bathroom facilities, as well as more parking. Also, Rockville is certainly not deficient in public sports fields availability, as there are multiple solid choices already, all within a similar distance. Fifth, a picnic area, playground, and dog park. These are all excellent ideas for Redgate Park. These features do well to permanentize, it's a real word, the park and prevent its development into something other than a park. They are also low-cost features. My only concern is the negative effect that dogs will have on wildlife. But with a dog park, especially a fenced-in dog park, those negatives are contained to a certain area. Sixth, the most contentious point is the amphitheater. I am for the amphitheater in spirit because of the above reasons. It permanentizes the park. It also provides a resource for local artistic organizations like poetry readings, local music groups, and others. However, I have seen many amphitheaters that appear almost entirely unused, and the seating and sitting area just a dusty crater devoid of grass or anything. And when in use, the beating sun makes being anywhere besides under the bandshell a tortuous experience. The Friends of Redgate Park got another win with this to prevent permanent fixed seating, which would have had a greater impact on the ecology of the park. In the master plan, the proposal includes a reference to my ideal type of amphitheater. This is the Scott Amphitheater of Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. It is notable for its beauty and its integration into nature. Mature trees are present throughout the space, which makes sitting there a shaded and enjoyable experience. The minimalist curb seating, similar to the Red Rocks Amphitheater outside Denver, requires no maintenance nor setup, and still offers a comfortable view. The shallow grade makes it fit well within the park's natural slopes, and the entire thing acts not as a neglected eyesore centerpiece, but instead as a beautiful, freely available fixture for anyone to catch a nice reading or an impromptu jam session. I hope that whatever amphitheater gets built is as beautiful as this one. The entire budget for all these improvements tops out at around $24 million. That's quite a bill, but I think it would eventually become a significant positive feature of Rockville, and it's certainly lacking in parks of this scale. My only complaint that I have with this master plan is that the intended upgrades do not include a connector trail to the Rock Creek Park trail system, to which the park is already adjacent. If you want to reach this park, you will need a car, and that kind of goes against everything a park is supposed to be. Who wants to go to a park that requires so much parking that a significant portion of what you're visiting is just storage space for your vehicle? A spur trail that connects the park to Rock Creek Trail, and, by extension, everything else that Rock Creek Trail touches, should be the first and foremost improvement. If you were to try to reach this park coming west on Norbeck Road, also known as Route 28, you'd be contending with very fast and very dangerous multi-lane traffic, with not a single speck of green bike path paint in sight. Coming from the east, it's the same. And if you tried to disembark from Rock Creek Trail where it crosses Avery Road and bike up Avery until you reach the park entrance, you would almost certainly die before you clear the 800-meter stretch. As it stands now, there is no way to reach the park without a car, and that is a massive deficiency. Rock Creek Trail is already one of the most heavily used multimodal walking and biking trails in the entire Mid-Atlantic region, and a spur trail would directly connect Redgate Park all the way to the nation's capital. This should be priority number one. So, remember this guy from earlier in this video? His name is Wayne Breslin, and he's the founder of the Friends of Redgate Park organization. I got a chance to meet with him, and we talked about our vision for the park and for Friends of Redgate Park, the organization that he and his peers are trying to start up. Here he is planting some Maryland native fauna for the Monarch Way Station, donated by Girl Scout Troop 3624. The people who love Redgate Park and want to see it grow and succeed are the most valuable asset here. Consider joining the mailing list at redgatepark.org to stay updated with news and plans. If you enjoyed this video, also consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'm very new to this whole YouTube thing, and I hope to continue to improve my shooting and editing skills. I hope in my lifetime, Redgate Park will evolve and develop into a centerpiece that Rockville can be proud of, and use often. And until then, I'm just happy to be able to enjoy a rare slice of quiet, raw, and wild nature in the meantime. As a bonus, here's some morel mushrooms we found at Redgate Park too. Thank you for watching.